brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By AutoPartsForLess.com. Why pay more when you can get it for less? And by Geico Motorcycle, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
Welcome back. Live coverage from the opening round of the MotoAmerica 2022 Championship. Michael Hill alongside me, Roger Hayden. We're at the Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing. And Roger, after that fantastic opening King of the Baggers race sponsored by Mission Foods, we turn our attention to Twins Cup round 1 of their championship. And as we've been saying throughout the weekend, with a grid of almost 45 riders, any one of at least 15 could win this one.
Yeah, this class is just stacked this year. There's a lot of people that have been in here for a while that's got the experience, and then a lot of newcomers, a lot of new kids stepping up from the Junior Cup class that was race winners there, have moved up to Twins, and it's just making it that much more competitive.
So our cameraman down there on the grid. Let's have a look at how they're going to line up then. A maiden pole position for Benjamin Gloddy, the vice champion, the runner-up in the Junior Cup last year. Starts alongside Tommaso Marcon, the talented Italian. Jody Barry switches to Veloce Racing and rewards them with a front row start, whilst Caleb de Carrel, the champion of last year, will start from the second row of the grid. Teague Hobbs heads up row number 3. Ed Sullivan, in his one-off ride, will start from row number 9. As we go back a little bit further, Corey Ventura, his teammate Ethan Cook will be there in the number 13, or rather fellow Yamaha rider, not teammate. Gus Rodeo, who was fast yesterday, Roger, down in 15th. He'll be a little bit disappointed with that, and Dominic Doyle also 16th. Yeah,
they'll be a little bit disappointed. They wasn't as fast as yesterday. I'm not sure if they had an issue this morning, but luckily for them, hopefully they can get a good start. We've seen in previous races this week, people come from the back and be there at the end.
Trevor Standish heads Pure Attitude's attack for the 2022 season. He starts from 25th on the grid. Bobby Betancourt starts 28th. Liam McDonald is back, his sophomore year, second season for Liam McDonald. He will start 32nd on his first visit to the Daytona International Speedway. Corey Hart, and still they keep coming. Joe Capito in 40th, Brett Donoghue 42nd. I mean, even if I wanted to ride, there's no space left. It's a stacked grid, isn't it? Still more. 43rd on the grid, the 720 of Mike Boyce. I mean, it really is going to be tight in the midfield, and as we've said all weekend long, we could see maybe 15 riders that could win this. There is our poleman, Benjamin Gloddy. Concentration on his face as we have a look inside the numbers, brought to you by Suzuki. This is the first time the Twins Cup have raced at the Daytona International Speedway. 12 turns, 3.56 miles in length. The largest Twins Cup entry ever, as we said, Roger, and 3 manufacturers, Aprilia, Yamaha and Suzuki, all in with a shout of taking the first 25 points of the season.
And not only 3 manufacturers, but all 3 of them have a chance to win, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when you hit 3 different brands on the banking and see where their strengths and weaknesses are.
A wave in the camera and a big kiss of Caleb de Carrel, the defending champion. He's the Dunlop rider profile then, riding for Veloce Racing, riding the Aprilia RS660. 5 race wins last year. He's the man with the target on his back.
Yeah, not only that, even when he doesn't qualify well, Caleb's always somebody who finds himself there when the race starts, and the second row start today is right there in the mix.
Yeah, he's going to be in the mix, and our lady on the ground is also in the mix. Jamie Howe is down there with Caleb de Carrel.
And we can very quickly get a word. You've got the helmet on, ready to go, number 1 plate on the bike. What weight's on your shoulders now that you're starting a new season?
You know, same thing as last year, man. We're just going to go out and give it everything we got. We got a new bike that we're trying to work on, and the Veloce Racing crew has been amazing so far, helping me get everything sorted. So same goal as always, man. I'm here to win, and I'm here to send it. So let's go do it.
Good luck.
Thanks, Jamie and Roger. He's here to send it. He's going to have some tough opposition. He's revved, though. Look at him. He is really pumping himself up on the grid, the defending champion. Do you really think he's that calm, or is he a little bit worried?
I think he's pretty calm. I think he has the experience. Caleb's been in the class, previous champion. I'm sure, you know, you always first race of the year, new team for him. You got some extra nerves, just hoping that, especially at a place like Daytona, too, where a lot can happen with the draft. So there's definitely a little bit of nerves, but I think he has the experience and should feel pretty confident. Blake Davis here. Great qualifying for him. Second row in his first Twins Cup race, so it's good to see Blake, a young rider, only about 16 years old. There's going to be a lot for him to learn as well with the banking, and I'm sure for him he's got to be pretty nervous. But it's glad to see Blake on a bike, you know, as competitive as others in the Junior Cup class. You know, on a bike that didn't have the horsepower as the other guys. Now he's got a really good bike. He can really show what he can do.
Yeah, he absolutely can show his true potential. There's Jody Barry. He's looking around. Is he looking at the skies? What's he looking for? Maybe, I guess a lot of these riders will have their eyes on the weather, won't they, Roger? Because we've had some inclement weather throughout the weekend, and there are the clouds. Is it going to rain? Do you think we'll get away with it? Well, currently 122 Fahrenheit, 82, 62% humidity. That wind is picking up, Roger. Brought to you by Geico, 10 miles an hour. I think we might get away with it, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, I think we're going to get away with it, especially for this race. But there's just something you have to watch. And also with the cloud cover, it can change the track temperature. And, you know, that'll change the grip a little bit. So that's something all the riders got to pay attention to. But I think everybody's just ready to get the race started, get the 22 season underway.
Well, Jamie Howe is down there still in the grid area. We're watching from up here. Everything looks pretty calm and collected. Nobody's stressing out. But, Jamie, last-minute report from the grid for us. What have you got?
I wouldn't say anybody's stressing out, but I did go and talk to a couple of the riders, specifically at the front row. They all agree that the start of this race is going to be the most important element, getting through those first couple of turns, letting it settle down a little bit. But with it only being a nine-lap race, it's going to be pretty hectic for the whole duration. So stay in your seat because you don't want to miss it. But I did speak with our pole sitter, Ben Glotty, and if anybody was nervous on the front row, I think it was most likely him. I wouldn't say he was, you know, about to get off the bike or anything, but he was nervous. He says he's ready, but that's because it's time to race.
Thanks, Jamie. And I guess, Roger, he's going to be nervous, right? I mean, he's coming off a championship challenge last year where he only just lost out on the championship. He's stepping up. He's with a team that won the championship here last year. You know, he didn't go in there necessarily as a #1 rider, but he's in a team that knows how to win. And based on the results from last year from Caleb Zuccarello, they won 5 races with him. You know, this team expects to win, so there is going to be some pressure.
And also for a guy moving up to a new class when you're on pole position, it adds more nerve because you know you have the pace to win. You know you have a competitive chance to win, and that gives you a little bit nerves. He's never raced a lot of these guys in the Twins Cup class, so it's a lot of new stuff for Ben Glotty and a younger guy. So for him, I'm sure he's got some extra nerves. And you know, I think he's smart. He's a smart young guy, and I think even if he doesn't win today, and if he can just be in that lead group and just learn the whole time, it's something he can carry on for the whole year.
Little fist pump there, and fist pumps will be coming up for Gus Rodeo. Full gas, he says. We spoke to Frank Angle, or rather I spoke to Frank Angle during the small mic on the mic segment a little while ago. This team are really investing also in young talent. Gus Rodeo also was in the Junior Cup last year. They've thrown Anthony Mazziato a lifeline, keeping him on the grid. It's great to see, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, and Gus had a great day yesterday, first session on the Twins Cup in the top 5. I'm not sure what happened in qualifying this morning, but he definitely has a lot more speed than where he qualified. So hopefully for him, he can get a great start. And also, you know, it's important to get a good start and be aggressive early. You do not want to lose touch to the leaders.
This will be the first time in the 2022 season, and the first time this weekend, that we are going to see 43 riders hurtling down in towards turn 1. If you're in the midfield, it is going to be tight, Roger.
It is. At that first turn, you have 43 riders sitting, you know, falling on down into this tight turn 1. And they come through here for your warm-up lap. You'll see how tight it is, how slow it is through here, and you have to be careful.
Yeah, you can see also, we saw it in the King of the Baggers, didn't we, with Tyler O'Hara coming from the back of the grid. A little bit dusty offline. This is used as an entry to the pit lane. It's not part of the main circuit, so you get a little bit offline. It's going to be dusty. We could see some action when the lights go out, literally in the first few seconds. They're then going to come through turn 2 and 3. Or rather, they call it turn 2, but it's like a little flip-flop, isn't it? They take it as 1, down into turn 3 through this infield section. And as we've seen already this weekend, as we've seen at Daytona, in the last 80 or the last 79 runnings of the 200, slipstream strategy will play a part in this race.
It will, and also I believe that the draft and the slipstream is also going to keep a big pack. I think it's going to be hard for a rider to get away. I think with the slipstream, it's going to keep it a really close group, and you're going to get out, you know, and put yourself in different spots in the draft and see if you can come by from 3rd, see where you're at in 5th. If you can't draft by the stripe, then you know the last lap you need to lead, put a great infield together, and try to build a gap.
Yeah, and just hope that you don't get out dragged towards the line. The riders then come through turn 6 up on the big banking. How close are we going to see the banking? We saw 3 or 4 baggers side by side. We could possibly see 6 or 7 bikes side by side around the banking in this race.
I think you will for sure, especially in the beginning. I think in the beginning it's going to be a really, really large pack. And also something to watch for here, you know, we've talked about it through the sessions, is going into turn 1 and then also the chicane here. You know, when you're in a draft, you're going to be coming in there, you know, 5-6 mile an hour quicker at least. And, you know, you could get in too deep, overshoot the corners. So it's something you're going to have to be mindful of is when you're in the draft is getting sucked into some of these corners a little too deep.
Yeah, and Jamie Howe down there, you've obviously been trackside, obviously a lot closer to the action as it happens in terms of Slipstream City, as we call it in Europe. What's your perspective on this? What do you think we're going to see?
Well, through practice and qualifying, there weren't any huge packs out there, but from what the riders are telling me, it seems like being in the draft is worth about a second or two. So they're not expecting a lead pack to break away from anybody just because the mid-pack riders are going to be able to suck in on the backside of them and stay with that lead pack. So they're expecting it to be pretty tight for the duration.
Also, too, it can keep them in a big pack, too, because when everybody's drafting, going into turn 1 and then chicane, it's going to slow up the pace a couple tenths. So if you are a little bit off, I think through there, it's going to help you, you know, stay right there with the leaders.
Absolutely great observations from down there in pit lane. Great observations from Roger Hayden, who's alongside me, Michael Hill. This is it, Daytona International Speedway. Race number 1 of 2 for the weekend for the Twins Cup. A championship that we don't have in Europe. It's one that I love commentating on. Always great racing. Aerobum Engineering Aprilia 1-2, completing the front row of the grid. There he is on that distinctive number 11, Jody Barry. First time riding with a teammate. His teammate is the one rider with the number 1 plate, Caleb Ducourel. The fluorescent touches on his leathers. Just making a few adjustments. We can see the number 18, Jackson Blackman, the pink and blue machine. A race winner last year, was a title contender, Roger, wasn't he, up until towards the end of the season when he had a couple of mechanical problems. They're holding them a long, long time here. A few adjustments. That must be an Italian thing. As Marcon gets ready for lights out here. It's going to be a 9-lap race. A little under 20 minutes to decide the first 25 points and the first trophy of the 2022 Twins Cup Championship. Revs are building. Watch for the lights. Twins Cup 2022 here at Daytona is go! Oh, and a terrible start for Hayden Schultz. He pulls up the front wheel. He's been passed by 3 or 4 people as we go down into turn 1. Everybody safely making it through as we go down into turn 1, and that looks as though it is a pole position to the lead for Benjamin Gloddy.
And a great start for Blake Davis, up to 3rd already, so really good start for him. Hayden Schultz kind of recovered from that wheelie a little bit, still there in 5th.
Yeah, aggressive from Hayden Schultz. We've come to expect that from him in the last couple of years. A rider that has a lot of talent and putting together his own program in the 2022 season. Still Ben Gloddy leading. Caleb Ducourel goes up into 2nd place. Brave from Ducourel, and he was wasting no time there, showing a front wheel. Hayden Schultz goes through now on the inside of Tommaso Marcon, and already we've seen a handful of overtakes in the first 3 corners.
Yeah, these guys are saying how important it is the first couple laps, getting those elbows out, not wanting to lose very many spots.
Up on the inside of Jody Barry goes Blake Davis, the young teenager there. He's not shy on the brakes as they come through onto the banking for the first time. Blake Davis a little bit tighter. He loses out because of that, and you talked about that in the weekend. You've got to get high.
You can see these guys, you know, going back and forth, slowing each other up, letting the top 3 guys kind of separate. So we're going to see what happens in the draft, see if it closes the group back up.
Well, I tell you what, people last year were talking about Aprilia horsepower. Nothing wrong with the speed of Hayden Schultz's machine there. Double draft, and it's Schultz that takes the lead into the chicane for the first time. A very wide line from Tommaso Marcon. We saw that line through practice. Just seems to be his line. Very different to everybody else, though. Anthony
Mazziato's had a great first lap as well. He's moved up quite a few spots from where he qualified.
Onto the banking then to complete this first lap. Caleb Ducourel comes out of the slipstream, going high, going low, and here comes Marcon. Uses the draft perfectly as well, and I guess that helps, doesn't it? If you can be at the top and then come down, it's the momentum you can carry. And he's going to pass another. He goes from 5th to the lead across the line. Nothing wrong with the speed of Tommaso Marcon as the leading 6 riders come across the line together. Strike that. There's a leading group of 12.
Yeah, you can see how the draft closed this whole group back up. Now you have to be careful. Don't get in too deep after being in the draft.
Left-hand side then, here we go. Look at the rider in 4th position, gets the double draft, cuts underneath. That was perfect.
See how he cuts down the banking, and that's what you want to do. You kind of use it as it goes downhill and give you that run.
A little bit wide from Benjamin Gloddy. He's starting to get roughed up a little bit, is the youngster. And that was going to be my question. Some of these veterans, if we can call them that, they've had 2 or 3 years in the Twins Cup. They're not shy of getting the elbows out. This will be a very different kind of race for Benjamin Gloddy, for Blake Davis, for Gus Roddy. All the youngsters that have moved up, they've never had to race like this.
No, this class is going to be a little bit more aggressive, and they're going to learn that as the race goes on. They're going to know after today, like, hey, these guys, if you leave a little bit of a hole open, they're going to take it.
You can see there the leading group of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. In fact, everybody in the points. That is the leading group of 15. Still too early to call this. They come up onto the banking. It is now still the Robum Engineering rider in the lead. A little bit further back, Anthony Mazziato. Keep your eyes on the 5.16, a first-time winner last year, as Schultz goes back to the front. Seems that the bikes work differently in different parts of the track.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of the bikes are, better getting up the banking, the first couple gears, and then a few of the other bikes, like the Aprilia, is pretty good in the higher gears. But you can see the draft, how everybody just uses the draft to bring the group back together.
Anthony Mazziato was fastest yesterday. Did have a pretty disappointing qualifying by his own admission, as again Marcon uses the slingshot down the bank, and he seems to have really perfected that, as Jody Barry now has overtaken his teammate. He's now going to go for the double slipstream, gets right in behind the Yamaha. 3 or 4 bikes wide, a little bit further back. Here comes Mazziato. Mazziato not suffering from starting 13th.
No, he was really aggressive that first lap and has put himself in a really good spot.
They fan out now 4 abreast, down hard on the brakes into turn 1. Nice overtaking position if you can get it done. There is Caleb de Carel, and Blake Davis around the outside of the defending champion. He may only be 16 years of age, but he is not being intimidated, is he?
No,
Great to see.
And Caleb, actually, the first couple laps have kind of fallen back toward the end of the group. You don't want to get too far back. The race isn't that long, but we see Caleb usually has pretty good race strategy.
Hayden Schultz talked to him when I got into the circuit earlier in the weekend, and he said, no, I've been in teams, and he said sometimes it's easier just to do your own thing. And doing his own thing there is the Italian. That's how they do it in Italy. Ciao, and through he goes. As we said, Teague Hobbs also, in fact, that is Teague Hobbs, isn't it? Yeah, it is Teague Hobbs, not Marcon. Apologies, the number 70 and the number 90 looking together. Jody Barry in there, and as you said, Caleb de Carel going backwards a little bit. Jamie, have you got anything on the ground? Is there a problem for Caleb de Carel? He started strongly, he's now been shuffled back into about 7th or 8th position.
Yeah, I don't know of any problems, but when I spoke to him on the grid, he was one of the riders who felt like the end of the race was really going to be the most important. Obviously, that's where the winner is awarded with the victory, but he thought that maintaining pace to get to the end was going to be more important than having the pace at the beginning of this race. So you mentioned his race strategy. That's what it is. We'll see if it pays out for him.
Oh, and paying out for him is Anthony Mazziato. I tell you what, though, you could have driven a bus through there. I mean, to be fair to Teague Hobbs, who I mistakenly identified as Marcon, the number 79 and the number 70, looking the same on. Again, Roger, dear me. I'm all for aggressive racing, but you've got to give a little bit of respect at the high end of the bank, but back into the lead for the Robum Aprilia machine. Teague Hobbs now retakes the lead, and again Teague Hobbs, another guy that has certainly learnt his craft, and another rider that isn't afraid to get his elbows out.
No, not at all. I think he's kind of, look at this pass on the very inside there. Mazziato making a great pass into the chicane, and most importantly, he got it stopped. Trail braking in there deep can be hard to get it stopped.
It is indeed. We've got live pictures on the right-hand side. Is that, I was going to say, is that Blake? It is. Blake Davis leads in Twins Cup for the very first time.
Oh, he made a mistake.
Oh, and a commentator's cuss, but he's going to stay around the outside. He's brave. Just be careful. A bit of a wheelie mid-corner, and he's still going to hang on to the lead. Roger, he held on to it.
Yeah, he recovered pretty good from that mistake. Just first time leading through there. Just got in a little bit deep, but he didn't panic and recovered pretty quick.
A huge front-end wobble for the N2 rider, and as you said, he's now showing on a machine that is capable of running at the front what this youngster can do. Great riding from Blake Davis. Well, great riding from everybody in the leading group. Big long look over his shoulder from Teague Hobbs. It always gets me a little bit nervous when that happens. Clearly no team orders there as Blake Davis leaves the door open, and he's going to lose a handful of positions. Yeah. That's just experience.
That's just experience. It's his first time leading the race. Once he took the lead, he ran wide in a couple corners. Somebody's got a problem.
Yeah, and we have lost one of the riders coming in. It was a blue bike. Now, who was that? Was it Hayden Schultz or was it Jackson Blackman?
It wasn't Schultz.
No, there is Schultz. Schultz goes around the outside. Oh, dear me. 4 abreast, 5 abreast, 6 abreast. It's not Jackson Blackman. Jackson Blackman is there. I wonder whether it was maybe Corey Ventura. It was definitely a blue machine that has pulled to the inside. We'll wait to get that confirmed from our timing screens. Aprilia at the sharp end, Yamaha still in the mix, and as we've said, really any manufacturer could still win this race. Different lines, pick a line, stick to it.
One thing that's going to help Blake Davis a lot, he's a small guy, so you know it's really going to be easy for him to get aero and really, you know, use the draft well. But you can tell what the draft does. It just brings this whole group together every single lap. Yeah, and you see there, Teague Hobbs that was running in second place. He's now dropped back into what, 2, 4, 6, 7th or 8th position as they come down across the stripe one more time. 3, 4 abreast, hard on the brakes into turn 1. Hayden Schultz has always typically been pretty good on the brakes, so you would have to be a bit of a demon to make that move. And there through on the inside goes Anthony Mazziato, just now finding his way past Blake Davis. This race is panning out exactly like we thought it would. So these guys kind of going back and forth, slowing each other up a little bit. Now Jackson Blackman has got him back into the mix. And I can confirm it was Corey Ventura. Corey Ventura is out of this race. Yamaha at the front through turn number 3, down on the brakes. And again, thinking about going around the outside, Teague Hobbs. Jody Barry very much in the mix, and as Jamie Howe was saying, Caleb de Courel maybe just mindful that this race isn't going to be won on lap 1, 2 or 3. It's going to be won once they go across the stripe at the end of lap 9. And just kind of putting himself in the right spot. These guys going back and forth like this, outbreaking each other in every corner. It's easy for somebody to make a mistake. He's kind of just being patient, as we've seen Caleb do, you know, all last year. But I can promise you the last couple laps, you'll see Caleb there toward the front. Left and right, and then through like a knife through butter goes the Robert Aprilia, but he got that wrong. Of course, like you said, he went high. That lost him some speed. The Yamaha comes back in front. It's now Yamaha back in front, but for how long? Here comes the Italian. Oh, he's going to go deep, deep, deep. That's his line. That's his line, and it works for the Italian. You can see the top 5 tried to make a little bit of a break there. I'm interested to see now coming out of the chicane if it'll close that group back up. Through onto the high banking, and have we lost Caleb de Courel from this leading group? I don't see the yellow on the leathers anymore. I see Jody Barry, but I don't see Caleb de Courel. I don't see the defending champion. I wonder if Jackson lost this group too. I wonder if they might have got together into the chicane possibly. Yeah, it's a good spot. I do not see the champion. Jackson Blackman in 8th position. I do not see Caleb de Courel. He's dropping down our timing order. We don't have any other more information on that, but if he is out of this race, that's not how he would want to start the championship. Back at the front, Aprilia leading. Teague Hobbs from Jody Barry. The Veloce Racing team now look to Barry, their new rider. Through on the inside goes Marcon. Hard on the brakes. He likes the bike loose, doesn't he? He does. He's really strong on the brakes, making a lot of passes, and the way these guys are racing, you would think it was the last lap already. Yeah, and you would think it would be the last lap. They've been like this since lights out. Gus Rodeo has now worked his way up into the top 10. Here comes Mazziato. Mazziato now squeezing through on the inside. The leading quartet on Aprilia. Hayden Schultz now pushed back into 5th position. Behind Hayden Schultz is Blake Davis, who is having a really impressive ride. It's hard to pick one rider that's sort of being impressive and being the standout, but for me, you've got to give some credit here to Blake Davis. This is a very, very mature ride from the young teenager. I wish they wouldn't do that. That really makes me jump, and very quick on the change of direction, Jody Barry, isn't he? He is. Unlike some of the riders around him who seem to just slide in and out. I don't think I'm the best commentator for this one. Seriously, I'm going to be aged by the time I get on the plane. And what are we seeing here? Caleb de Courel right there. Caleb de Courel, does he have a technical, or has he just made a mistake and run off track and he's now fighting his way back through? We talk about the draft going in the chicane. I don't know if maybe he got sucked in and made a mistake, obviously, or if he did crash, he's got back in the race. But he's fallen out of the points. Yeah, he's definitely, well, he's still running. So Caleb de Courel is still running, but he's down behind the 24 of Adam Forza. He's down in about 20th position. It's damage limitation now for the defending champion. Whatever happened, we've got confirmation. Oh! Sorry about that to scare everybody. That was huge. That was huge for Anthony Mazziato and Roger Hayden. I don't know what I just saw there.
That is unbelievable. Anthony Mazziato just ricocheted off the wall. He bounced across. Let's watch this again, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies anybody eating their tea. If there's coffee all over your dining room table, I apologize. This is live racing from the Daytona International Speedway as Marcon again goes through on the inside. Watch the left side of your picture here. Have you ever seen anything like this in international racing? Mazziato gets it wrong. He hits the wall and he hits the fellow Aprilia. Hayden Schultz also gets hit 2 or 3 times. And there is another rider that is now out, and that is Hayden Schultz is now stopped. And I wonder whether that is something to do with the sort of the damage from that ricochet from Anthony Mazziato. And my heart rate is still absolutely pounding here. I'm sure anybody watching at home, safe to say that Mazziato is okay. But I think that ricochet has now taken out Hayden Schultz.
What happens when you're in the draft? He came through there with so much momentum, he just ran out of track.
And here's a replay of Hayden Schultz. I believe we can bring that to you now. He got tagged once, twice, and the third time. We'll show it to you for the viewers at home. Second to the left on the screen. He's hard on the brakes. He's got Mazziato behind him. He goes deep, deep, deep. Now what are we going to see? He's going to get hit again. He gets hit again.
Well, he was the one that did the hit. He got in deep and got into Tommaso, I think, or maybe somebody else.
Yeah, I think it was Tommaso Marcon, was it? Yeah, it was Marcon. Benjamin Glody was also in amongst that as well. Blake Davis is now back in the lead of this race. Forget what's been going on. Blake Davis now back into the lead. He loses it on the drag. It's going to be Teague Hobbs that retakes the lead. Blake Davis looking for his first MotoAmerica podium. What a way to get it. And he slingshots past both of these riders. And now he takes the lead. But for how much longer? 3 to go as they come across the stripe. There will be 2 laps remaining here. A little under 4 minutes of racing to go. Caleb de Courel has now fought his way back up into 18th position. Will he find a point? Lap times are in the 58s. Blake Davis back into the lead. So it's Davis from Marcon, from Teague Hobbs, from Mazziato, whose heart rate must be racing. Oh, and another mistake at the front. Marcon now makes a mistake. This guy is so fast, but we saw so many mistakes from him last year.
Yeah, just got in turn 3 way too deep, trying to make a pass on Blake, and hopefully for him, he didn't lose too much. He can still has a chance to get back in this draft, especially if these guys start going back and forth.
Blake Davis has never been on the podium in the Twins Cup. He's never been on the podium in Junior Cup. This will be an emotional win. His dad is here this weekend as well, Mazziato, who
bounced off the wall. Now going to take the lead, possibly.
Unbelievable. And if Mazziato is on the podium, we may need a bleeper for the interview because, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever seen anything like that? Never seen anything like that in my life. Unbelievable. Thankfully, everybody stayed on 2 wheels as we come through then. Blake Davis back to the lead. And a rider that we haven't really talked about, slowly going about his business. Jackson Blackman is now in the mix for a podium. And a rider that we thought last year could take the championship fight all the way to the wire. Let's not count him out as far as championship or race victories here in Daytona goes.
And Blake Davis got a really strong bike. You can see, hopefully, for him, maybe if these guys get by him, he can follow him to the infield. I think if he comes out of the chicane in 3rd place, from what we've seen, he definitely has the top speed to make the draft. But it's going to be an interesting last lap. Guys are going to be trying to be aggressive, putting themselves in the right spot where they think they're going to have their best chance to win.
Absolutely, over the line we go, and here comes Jackson Blackman. Has he played the ace card, the trump card? I think he has, Roger. He's put himself right into contention now for the win.
Now, last lap, now it's just all about placement. Where do you think you need to be?
It was Benjamin Glody that was part of that carnage with Hayden Schultz, and fastest lap of the race now goes to Benjamin Glody momentarily, because now Jody Barry with a 58.1. The riders that were part of that little shenanigans down at turn number 3, and Benjamin Glody, who started from pole position, has now got himself right back into the fight. Marcon, who is a very aggressive rider, likes to ride the bike loose, has a lot of motocross and super cross dirt track experience. He's the test rider for Italy.
Blake Davis loses the front big time through turn 4.
He manages to hang on to it though, doesn't he? He's not scared by this. He's not intimidated by those around him. Blake Davis still continuing to lead the N2 team, who will also run Kevin Almeida in the Supersport Championship this year. We've said it ourselves, haven't we, over the last couple of seasons? Blake Davis is a talent. He's got the talent. And now in a championship where the parity of the motorcycles is very much the same, Blake Davis showing what he could do. onto the banking, stays high, and he's got a couple of bike lengths advantage. What he needs now is these guys to start fighting. To mix each other up again. A little front wheel shown there from Mazziato. He has to roll out of it. This is playing into the hands of Blake Davis, who goes defensive down into the braking area. Couple of back shifts, another one in, backs the back end in, over the curb. Everybody taking curb now. Here comes Teague Hobbs, the winner. Oh, and he's taken him out. The two teammates go down. Benjamin Gloddy is taken out by Tommaso Marcon. And Benjamin Gloddy is, well, that's not the way that he wanted the race to end. And that is going to mean that Blake Davis will be on the podium. Davis will be on the podium. Here comes Teague Hobbs for the win. Goes high on the bank. They head towards the line. Ooh, he also gets close to the wall. He's got to back off. Blake Davis comes back towards him. And two riders in the wall as they come towards the flag. Over the line. Blake Davis wins the opening Twins Cup race. His first ever MotoAmerica podium. Anthony Mazziato will get the third position as we look at the other riders. Blake Davis, what a way, Roger, to take your first ever podium in MotoAmerica. Ladies and gentlemen, a star is born. Tommaso Marcon. I'm not sure that Benjamin Gloddy speaks Italian, but they look to still be friends as they head towards the line. Ethan Cook crosses the line in 12th position, and I'm just looking to see whether Caleb de Carrel gets a point. And I was going to say, here it is, going through on the inside. They were all taking the curb, and Marcon, who doesn't normally take the curb, he did take the curb on that particular lap, and that was his downfall. Yeah, it was just, looks like he tried to make a pass through there, which is really tight to make a pass through the chicane. He was kind of in a good spot, to put himself in the draft, and just made a mistake. And well, across the barriers there, and Caleb de Carrel, Benjamin Gloddy, just a little bit winded there. Final point goes to Jeff Perk, the dentist, and Caleb de Carrel did get points, Roger, 2 championship points. That could be very important at the end of the season. Could be huge, seeing a couple of his title contenders ended up on the ground and still come out with a couple points. That's why you never give up and you fight till the end. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Blake Davis then takes the win. Teague Hobbs kickstarts his championship with 20 valuable championship points. Anthony Mazziato rounds up the podium. So Yamaha take top honours. Yamaha will be happy with that. They've got one over on the... That's just good for Blake Davis. Struggled last year on a bike that's not competitive. Can, to come back this year and really prove what he can do. Yeah, really, really good. As I said, this is the championship, really, which is seen now as a stepping stone from the Junior Cup into the Super Sport and potentially Superbikes in the future. And just 16 years of age, not just a first podium in any category at national level, a first national win on your debut, and you've beaten the might of the Aprilias as well. I mean, that is an impressive ride. And he made a few mistakes that he can clean up in the lead, but when he made those mistakes, though, he rebounded quickly. He forgot about them quick and, got right back on what he needed to do, and he's put himself in a great spot, and he rode great. Yeah, as I said, I wasn't sure whether he would be a title contender. I thought maybe he'd get a podium or be a podium contender, but after that, Roger Hayden, a potential championship contender in the shape of 16-year-old Blake Davis, who wraps up the win by 65/100ths of a second over Teague Hobbs and Anthony Mazziato. Jody Barry recovers from that tangle with Hayden Schultz to finish 5th behind Jackson Blackman. Gus Rodeo, another rookie, coming through from the Junior Cup in 7th ahead of Darren James. And Ed Sullivan picks up 7 championship points with 9th on the number 700 Yamaha YZF R7. Wow, just get our breath. I mean, where do you start? Where do you pick a highlight? The team down here, everybody in tears down there. That is great to see. Great to see. His dad will be down there as well. Chuck Giacchetto comes across, and Blake Davis coming down here. And Chuck Giacchetto just saying to me, yeah, I told you. And that's what it means to the 16-year-old. Not only for him, but for the team. I mean, they put tons of effort into this program for the last couple years to finally come here and get a win. And I love seeing that. And look at the emotion there. There's his dad, the gentleman with the cap on, a little tear. And he can be forgiven for that. I mean, emotions are high. The team there from the rodeo team, the Warhorse racing team of Anthony Mazziato. And I know Jamie and Hannah will be down there doing the interviews. We've got to ask Anthony Mazziato about that heart-stopping moment to recover for a podium. That's like a win for Mazziato, because that could have been a big fat zero for the long-haired rider on the 516.
That was he recovered though. Could have been bad, but got back on and put it behind him pretty quick. And for him, what a great start to the year with the podium.
Yeah, and Blake Davis there just asking, I think, how some of the riders were. He obviously he saw a couple of riders going down, and really mature ride. And I think we're going to see a really mature interview here as well with this. There he is, the 16-year-old. Take a look. Remember the face, ladies and gentlemen, because 16-year-old Blake Davis has a huge future ahead of him. Yamaha win the opening round of the championship, and you can see him sweating there. He had to work for that. He really did have to work for that, but a really good run. The Robum Engineering guys going across and saying to Teague Hobbs, and they're just talking him through. See if we can hear what's being said. Okay, I think Jamie Hout is down there in victory lane. Jamie, what an emotional win for a star of the future. No doubt about it. Jake, what am I saying? Not Jake, Blake even. I can't even I'm so emotional down here. What a win for Blake Davis, Jamie. Let's have a chat to him.
Well, when we spoke yesterday on pit lane, Blake was still trying to get comfortable on this motorcycle. You got comfortable enough to bring it home for your very first MotoAmerica victory. What made the difference over these last 2 days?
Really, it was a struggle with the rain and not being able to get out for all of our sessions, but Shiloh, my crew chief, got it dialed in perfect for the siding lap, and it really I knew I was going to do something good after that. So I'd like to thank everyone that helped me out, my whole team, and Shoei, Dainese, Into, Westbihi, Bobblehead Moto, all of them. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Really nice interview that from Blake Davis. Not Jake, it's Blake. I'll get it right. See, I told you I make mistakes, Roger. I can never get anything right. Teague Hobbs in second place. That's a good, solid 20 points. Remember last year he had a 0 in the first round. 20 points on the board for Teague Hobbs. There he is. A big smile on his face. And I think Jamie is down there with him as well. Big smiles, Jamie, with Teague Hobbs, and rightly so. 20 valuable championship points. Great start.
And it started with some lap sleds there early on in the race. What made the difference for you as those 9 laps unfolded?
Kind of really didn't know what to expect. We haven't had many dry laps this weekend. I really just got to give it up to my team, Robum Engineering, Aprilia, Bison Leathers, HJC Helmets came on board this year. Everyone came together, made it a great race. I hope I could make a show for the fans. So, you know, the weather being on and off this weekend, I hope we can get a second race, you know, coming up, maybe tomorrow. But yeah, thank you to everyone. Thank you to Mega World Development, my mom, my dad, my whole team, Mike, my crew chief, everyone, Legacy. I'm over the moon. So happy for Blake. Obviously, he's a newcomer to the class. So tried to show him a thing or two, but he got the best of me today. So I'm looking forward to some more racing.
It was definitely a great race. It was a great way to start off the season. Congratulations on that second place. I'm going to go ahead and walk over here to Anthony Mazziato. There was a moment for you out there on the racetrack. How did you get your head back down and put it back together to end up on the podium?
Honestly, I gotta say thank you to my brother up there for looking after me for that, because I have no idea how I kept it on 2 wheels. That is absolutely crazy, but I can't thank the rodeo racing team enough. Geoscape Solar, Warhorse, HSBK, Solar Construction. I'm just so mind blown right now. I can't believe I just rode on the wall like that.
Congratulations.
Wow, and we're sat here also still open-mouthed, and you can see that he is shook up. I mean, that would shake anybody up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
That really would for Mazziato, and you can see his hand shaking there, and a great recovery, a great race all round, and all 3 deserved riders on the podium there. A stunning way to start the Twins Cup. I love this championship.
Yeah, that race was great. I mean, I can't wait for more, and I think this is how the whole season's going to go. I think with so many competitive guys, it's going to be a great year in the Twins class, and you got to be on your A game. If you're struggling one weekend, you know it's going to be a long weekend for you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year and seeing what some of these newcomers can continue to do in this class.
Absolutely. There's the top 3. Let's have a look back then if we can. Some of the highlights from that opening race. Race number 1 here at Daytona. Lights out, wheelies from the middle of the podium, but a pretty good start from all of the runners and riders that would feature in this 9-lap opening race. Everybody went down into turn 1. Roger and myself, we were a little bit concerned as to whether everybody would make it through. They did. Roger, the action came a little bit later.
Yeah, the beginning of the race, everybody was there with the contention, but as the race wore on, you could tell guys were getting more aggressive. Look at them trying to put themselves in the right spot in the draft, trying to see where their bike is on the banking.
5-6 abreast, it was a massive moment, and then it was a massive moment. Look at this ricocheting off the concrete wall for Anthony Mazziato, and then this happened, the tangle between Hayden Schultz and Benjamin Gloddy. He dropped right the way back, did manage to find his way through.
Also Jody Berry got caught up in that as well.
Yeah, kind of ruined Jody's race, didn't it? And then we came down to the run to the flag. Teague Hobbs tried everything. It was Blake Davis that hit the front. Then there was another mistake from Tommaso Marcon, who would also get involved a little bit later in the carnage. Blake Davis continuing to lead at the head of the field. Mazziato also regrouping to fight for a potential podium. Blake Davis riding very maturely. Marcon never used the curb until the final lap, and when he did, it all went wrong, and he wiped out the luckless Benjamin Gloddy. Hobbs again showed a front wheel, but there was nothing, Roger, that he could do about Blake Davis, who punches the air to become one of the youngest ever winners in Twins Cup. And he gets a nice little surfboard there as well on the podium. And looking at the tooth, there as well. Do you know what? Do you reckon the Tooth Fairy was smiling at him? What do you reckon?
Something was watching over all those guys that race.
Wait, I'm just interested. I talked to him yesterday, and I swear he had all of his teeth. I swear he had all of his teeth. Maybe he lost it in the middle of the race. Maybe that was part of it. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Maybe it's at turn 6 or something. Now they're all talking about what happened. Isn't that cool? The little surfboard.
Yeah,
I like that. That
cool.
is really cool. Really, really cool. And Teague Hobbs walks off the podium. And of course, for the fans, if you are trackside, not just here, but at any of the races, Roger, the fans can get part of this. You can get down into Victory Circle and really watch the celebrations on the podium. A really unique feature as the riders then head off to the press conference. We're going to step away for a few moments. We'll leave you with the scenes of a first career MotoAmerica win for Blake Davis.